Hi, today we're here with Chris Sundstrum, who is the president of the North Canterbury Federated Farmers. So what's your relationship with the river?
Well, the river's a very important part of Canterbury. It's the lifeblood of Canterbury. It's like a vein in the human body. We all need water to survive. We don't destroy water. We can use water as it passes by, but water is always there. And we need it for our stock, and we also need it for our pastures. And the production from the river feeds Christchurch. 64% of Christchurch depends on the rural part of Canterbury for its income. So it's very, very important that we work very, very closely together with the community in Christchurch to have a sustainable river and a sustainable farming industry around it. Our farming has to be sustainable, our land has to be sustainable, otherwise we will not be able to produce from it long term. So we spend a lot of money on the land.
So Chris, if there was no Waimak, would there still be farming in Canterbury?
There would still be farming in Canterbury, but it would be very, very much reduced. It would become extensive rather than intensive, which it is today. I mean, there are times, before the days of irrigation here, the Waimak was bone dry in 1942, and that was just through natural causes, natural summers. I mean, we talk about global warming today, but we've got to look back at history that these things have happened before, and you know, in the reasonably recent past. So, yeah, no, farming would be very, very much reduced.
What are some of the ways the farmers are looking after the Waimak?
Well, the farmers very much judge the water that they take from it for a start. Now they use these centre pivot irrigators which apply the water very directly, and they only use the amount of water that they need. It's very, very expensive. Some of the big dairy farmers would spend $60,000 a month on electricity to run their irrigation system, so obviously they don't want to put more water on than they actually need.
So what are some of the other ways farmers can irrigate?
Well, one of the ways that we're advocating a lot at the moment is water storage, and that's after the river floods, you can't take water out while it's flooding because there's too much silt in it. But between flooding and a lower point in the river, you can take water off and store it. And now that means at times of the year when the river's not being used for other things, you can store water and use it for the summer dries. And this way protects the aquifers. It means that people aren't drilling deep wells and sucking out the aquifers, but they're actually storing the water on top and using it that way.
In your time of farming, what sorts of changes have you seen?
Well, there have been lots of changes in the type of farming, and water's had a fair bit to do with that. This land was very extensive sheep country in the early days, with very little water. We perhaps had water races which were run off this river, but that was their only supply of water apart from the river itself. But nowadays they're farming dairy.
In the media, farming and industry is often portrayed as the bad guys.
Oh yes, well of course they are, because the media loves to make a story for a start. But you know, my neighbours for instance spent about $3 million on the environment last year, just putting a bridge across the Eyre River and spending it on the environment to make sure that their farm was sustainable. So, you know, we've got to look after the environment, otherwise our farms won't work.